Hi guys, welcome to this channel. If you're new to this channel, kindly please subscribe. Don't forget to share this video if you find it interesting at all. And if you want to leave a comment for us, kindly just go down there and put a comment there. I'll be able to check through as many as I can whenever I can, and I'll be able to respond to most of them when I can. If you have been a subscriber to this channel, thank you for always being with us on this channel, and I'll be posting more and more not comments per se, more and more uploads and videos as time goes by. I've been working upon to try to get us to have quality videos so that I don't give you content that is not up to the level that you want in terms of quality of the video. So guys, I know it's been a long journey for us, but I'm now back and I'll be doing more and more recordings as time goes by. So I wanted to talk about this one thing that so many people have been asking me to do for quite a long time, right? So anytime I meet people, anytime on my DMs, that is, I get people asking me, Bravin, how do you gain followers on your platform? So I'd just like to make sure that today I address some of the ways that I've used as a person to grow my account on Twitter, so that you guys can be able to learn a thing or two from that. I know most of you keep asking me that question, and I thought, why not just put it out here so that if anyone is interested at all to learn, they can be able to get what I did from the video, instead of trying to explain it to each and every person out there, which can be tricky sometimes, right? So I decided to do this video so that you guys can learn a thing or two from what I've been doing to grow my following. So number one thing on Twitter, Twitter, I know has been a very good platform, especially if you want to get your conversations trending, have people talk about your business, that is etc, because it also has the trending topics where you can check out what is trending and what is the latest out there. In terms of a brand, it's very significant for you and very, very, very imperative that you have updates on what is happening, so that you can be able to see how it can affect your business or your brand in one or the other. So that aside, I'd just like to dive into the ways in which I have used to grow my space. So of my Twitter following, just to let you know first, I'm a political scientist, I'm a mental health advocate, and I'm also a social media influencer. So that is basically me as a brand and what I do on Twitter most of the time, right? So I have 231k followers right now, and most of the time people ask me, why and how did you grow to this following? Yeah, so today I'll just like to talk about some of the things that are very important you should consider for you as a person or a brand when you're joining or creating a Twitter account. One, make sure that you know your niche as a person. In fact, niche based content is very important. Yeah, if you want to join Twitter and be successful, for example, in growing in your brand, or let's say your handle, that is, make sure you know your niche. If you decide to do content on music, kindly stick on music. If you decide to do content on football, stick on football. If you decide to do content on health, just do content on health. If you do politics, stick to politics. Sometimes I know some of these topics can crisscross, and you might find yourself commenting on a topic that probably don't do quite frequently, but don't mix them up if you'll not be consistent in doing it. For example, if I do music content, it will be weird for me to do political content, especially when my following has followed me because of the music, right? So the moment I switch, the people who followed me for music content, specifically, what they'll do, they'll start unfollowing you, right? So because now you're posting political content, and probably they just want to be away from that political field. So it becomes a bit tricky for that following to even grow. So what happens? It drops, right? So that is why it's very important and significant that you know your niche and you stick to that niche, because having a niche is very important. Yeah, people can be able to associate you with a specific niche. They don't be someone who people can't tell what they do, what exactly the content that they have chosen to do, right? So today you're talking about this, tomorrow you're talking about that. You become like you don't know exactly where you belong, right? So if you want to grow as a brand, make sure you know your niche. It is very important to have a niche, and make sure that you stick to your niche. That is the most important thing. And what I always say is content is king, right? That is the next thing. make sure you have the content that will add value to your account, your brand, and your niche. That is, for example, if you want to post something, ask yourself a simple question: how will this affect my brand? Will it make my brand grow? Will it make my brand drop? How will it impact on my brand account, right? So make sure that if you're posting something, it is adding value to your brand. It shouldn't be something that it is making your brand to lose value, because some posts are not worth it. If you know this will impact your brand in a negative way, please don't post it, because the moment it does that, it makes people also unfollow you, right? At the same time, you make sure that you keep updating your content and it is up to date. Make sure you keep posting. Consistency, it is very important. Be consistent when you are posting content on your timeline, so that people do not just come to your channel to check your content and they don't find anything there. Some of them will get tired of waiting, right? And when they do, they'll just unfollow you and decide to follow someone else for a specific kind of content that probably is close or related to what you used to do and you stop doing. So keep the consistency. It's very important if you want to grow your following on Twitter. Consistency, know the content that you're posting and do not disappear and vanish. Then know your niche. It is very important to know your niche. So that is basically the most important thing on Twitter if you want to grow your following. Another thing that people used to do way back when it comes to Twitter, they used to have this, what do we call it, the follow trends or the gain trends. But currently Twitter has made it like it's more like illegal to do the gain trends. They are viewed as spam, right? So gain trends used to help people to gain followers. It used to be a good thing, but with gain trends, there is a disadvantage where people just monkey see, monkey do, right? If you follow me, I follow you back. It doesn't matter what you post, yeah? So you end up, sometimes you find people who have their timelines are filled with explicit content, which they had no idea that it would come to a timeline, but it's because of the follow trend, right? So if you probably find yourself even seeing posts in language that you don't understand, because you don't know exactly whom you followed. So you end up with a scenario where now you are reading things you do not understand on your timeline, and those posts that you are reading do not make you or inform you more about the brand that you are building as a person. Because when I follow something, they should be able to be in sync with what I do, so that I can learn from them, they can learn from me. But if you're following someone and you don't learn from them, you just what you do is you keep building them in terms of, for example, brand value, but you're not learning from them. So it's not important for you to follow them, right? So if you are not learning from someone, then don't follow them. They'll just let me say, they'll make your timeline a bit more dirty, if I may say, or they'll make it have content that you do not even want to associate yourself with. So it's very important to know whom you're following, even in those gain trends sometimes, because people just go there and tap and follow. So gain trends, basically, they were one of the ways you could gain followers. Although gain trends are currently illegal on Twitter, or accounts get suspended for doing gain trends, right? So it's one of those methods. If you probably come across a tweet that is asking people to drop the handles etc., just make sure you can do it, but make sure you know exactly who you're following. Check out those people who follow you, then see if you can match with their content and you like it. If not, then don't follow them, right? So that is another way in which people can gain followers. Then there is another way in which people gain followers on Twitter, and that is by buying Twitter accounts. One thing I have to specify and be very specific about is that buying of Twitter accounts is illegal, and selling at the same time it's illegal. That one is not allowed by Twitter, and if one does it, then they might end up losing their accounts, right? So this is what happens with buying accounts. You buy account, then you change it to a handle that you want to use, right? But then it has a lot of disadvantages, if I may. It has a pro in which I can say you'll have amassed huge following at the same time, and then now you can call yourself a big wig, right? But then there is a disadvantage in one way. If, for example, I go out there and buy an account, right? Most of the time people just check the number of following of followers. So if I get an account that has 50,000 followers, but then you find that this account, you can't tell which geolocation these followers come from. For example, I might buy an account, but then the following is, for example, majority of the people who follow that account are in China or in Asia, that is, they speak Mandarin. But personally, I just post my posts in Swahili. So what will happen? One, you can't get engagement in your posts because they probably do not understand the language you speak. Two, when they post or make a post, they'll make it in a language that you also do not understand, right? So you will not be gaining from them. So you don't know whom you follow. Three, if you're doing a business and your intention is to get clients, when you buy an account and it has the number of followers from, let's say, Asia, and your business is based in Nairobi, it becomes difficult for you to get clients because you can't convert that following to clients because they are in a very different location. And for example, you don't have the shipping services, etc. It can be difficult for you to even make sales, right? So there's a challenge that comes with that. Then there is another issue of the DMs. If the DMs, for example, the person who used that account, for example, talked badly towards someone, when you change that name to your brand, and those chats do not disappear on their end, even if they delete them when they are selling you the account, on the receiver's end they do not disappear. So the other person still sees, because Twitter doesn't have the delete for all feature currently. So you find that those guys, the person that received that message is still there. So one day they might just decide, or someone can maliciously decide to do you dirty. What do? They take a screenshot of that DM or a scroll shot or a video record, then they post on the timeline. So it can appear it's as if it is your brand that has probably said those words, but it's not actually your brand. So by the time you even damage control, the post would have even probably turned off so many clients, and now they'll start saying, oh, so you bought the account. So it becomes, again, it has that devaluing factor that it will put to your brand. So that is why I always advocate for people to grow their accounts organically, because personally, all my accounts that I've ever used, I've grown them organically. I've worked on the content, I've pushed the content, and then it becomes, there's one thing that is good about growing your account organically. One, you will know whom did you follow. Yeah, so you'll know the person that you are following, because most of the time before you follow someone, you'll have checked their timeline. Two, another thing is, when you grow your following organically, you can be able to have a good engagement, because the people who follow you have followed you because of your content. So what do? They'll always want to engage you for more in terms of perspective. That is, if they have a question, they'll ask you. You will know, they'll engage you at a personal level because they know your content, they relate with it. So most of the people will even share your content. That is when you find an account that has, for example, it's niche based and people follow because of the content. Even if it has a small number of followers, it will still have that huge engagement, right? Then an account you bought, then it was, for example, when you bought an account, in fact, this is one of those disadvantages of buying an account. You'll find an account that grew on a niche, let's say about cars, then your posts will be political. So you'll find that these are people who were following for content about cars, but now you are talking about politics. Yeah, bombs here, bomb there, this goes here, this. And now they feel like, no, this is not the account we followed. Or you probably start posting content about, let's say, they follow you for cars, but now you're talking about birds, about animals, about wildlife. Now they start wondering, now, what happened, you see? So they start unfollowing you, start losing the number of followers. So that is another disadvantage that you'll get. So the advantage of having that, or that growing that account organically, will help you prevent things like this. Yeah. So these are the things you can prevent when you grow. You decide to work on your account, grow it organically, and make sure it reaches the level in which you want, but make sure you're consistent with the content. Then one other thing that people forget that helps you a lot in terms of growing your Twitter account is engaging your followers. Engage them. Go to those comment section. When someone says something, try to reply, try to respond. Have that one-to-one conversation. It makes it much better for you to grow your following. In fact, more followers will start liking you for engaging them, and that will make you grow as a person, as a brand, and you'll also get their perspective to get to know some of them. Then if I may say, the final thing is about the Twitter Spaces. If you want to gain followers, go and join Twitter Spaces. Twitter Spaces enable you have that one-on-one conversation with different people. And if your opinion, for example, you join a space that has, let's say, 500 people in the space, listeners that is, and you share an opinion, and some of the listeners feel like they like your opinion, they'll follow you to want to learn more about what you do as a person and what you say and what you think, etc. So Twitter Spaces are very, very important. In fact, if someone engages or joins more Twitter Spaces, they'll gain more followers than someone who doesn't and just, for example, just post stuff and just do the normal. But if you join Twitter Spaces, it helps you also to have that, you will be able to get people who are like-minded with you, and it will help you to grow as a brand. So that is very important for you as a person if you want to grow your Twitter's account. And I think that is more like what I've been doing as a person and as a brand. And I think if you guys can be able to take a few of the things that I've shared with you and put them into practice, you can be able to gain the number of followers that you definitely want for you as a brand, for you as a person. So it will help you to grow. If you would like some of my, if you like to adopt what I've been using, it's okay, you can do it. But if you also have other ways in which you have done to gain your following, kindly share with me. I'll be able to also update these guys so that they can be able to learn from what you guys do. Meanwhile, thank you guys for watching these videos. I have nothing but love for all of you guys. I appreciate you for always coming to check this channel out, and I really hope that we can have more of these conversations going. Meanwhile, I'll talk about other things. For example, there are people who get their account suspended and they want to appeal. I've not seen how to write a DMCA notice, for example, about Twitter online, and I really struggle to actually get mine up and running. So I'll be doing some of these videos later on. But meanwhile, thank you guys for tuning in. You can share this video, and until next time, nawapenda wote.